Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Today we're here with the 2022 Ford Maverick and we're going to be taking it on a variety of adventures. We're going to be hauling with maximum payload, we're going to be towing, and we're going to be off-roading. Join us for the ride. Here we have the front-wheel drive hybrid model with about 1,000 pounds of payload. This vehicle is capable of hauling 1,500 pounds. This is kind of to demonstrate that home improvement store run. It's actually on a normal sized pallet with 1,000 pounds of mulch. Let's go see how it drives. Yesterday we drove the hybrid unladen, completely empty, and I was very impressed with how it handled. Today we are driving it with, like I said, about 1,000 pounds in the bed. So far, just pulling out of the parking lot here, it feels essentially the same. It does feel a little bit more planted, but it's really hard to get a good impression just on low speed on a dirt parking lot. So let's see how it accelerates. I'm not at a complete stop. You can definitely feel the front end kind of swirling around a little bit with all that weight in the back as you're flooring it. But overall, it feels very good. It does have a bit of sway as you turn there, but that's to be expected. It's a small vehicle. There's a lot of weight going on back there. But I would say it stays pretty composed, not dangerous or anything like that. We're also going to be towing with both the EcoBoost and with the hybrid. We're going to be towing some ATVs and a small camper just to see how it does with that as well. So definitely keep watching this to see that. And we're just going to be doing a quick about 8-mile loop, see how it does. And I'm going to reset the trip here and see what we get for fuel economy. This is just kind of a back road route, nothing too crazy. For reference, unladen over about a 40-mile drive, I got about 38 miles per gallon, not trying. We're going around some curves here. You can definitely feel the weight back there, but not in a dangerous or really unexpected way. I would certainly feel comfortable driving it like this as necessary. But like I said, you definitely feel it, so you need to be aware of that and adjust your driving accordingly, as with any vehicle. And being that the mulch is not as dense, the weight is a little bit higher up than it necessarily would be if you had like concrete bags or something like that that's a little bit lower slung in the bed. I think having the capability of being able to put a full pallet in the back of such a small truck like this for the Home Depot run, the Lowe's run, whatever, home improvement stuff, I think it's very good for that first-time home buyer or just someone that needs a small utilitarian vehicle that they can also drive every day and get good fuel economy. Right now we're still averaging over 40 miles per gallon. Obviously I didn't reset it at the start, so it's a bit skewed. I am excited to see how the Maverick tows on roads like this, because these are not the easiest roads to be towing on. We're going to switch it into tow haul mode, see how it changes things. So we're now in tow haul. Let's see if it changes. I was in normal mode prior and it felt fine. So it does increase regen actually in tow haul mode in the hybrid. So I think that is a good change. It helps you slow it down a little bit more. And it uses that extra mass to carry the vehicle farther rather than just letting it be put to waste. We're gonna keep driving for a bit here. Do this about 15-16 mile loop, and then I'll update you guys at the end with fuel economy with that 1,000 pounds added, and then we're going to switch vehicles and see whether we're going to do a payload test again in the all-wheel drive or if we're going to switch to towing. And wrapping things up here, hauling that 1,000 pounds of mulch. In the hybrid, we averaged about 38.4 miles per gallon. I do think that the tow haul mode did improve the dynamics while towing, change the, not shift points, but kind of the grab points in the CVT in a beneficial manner. And I think the regen calibration changing did help as well on the slight declines. And next up, we're going to be hopping in another Maverick hybrid, and we're going to be towing 1,650 pounds. The hybrid is rated for 2,000 pounds, so let's see how it does towing. And we're actually going to be hopping on the interstate for this as well. And we have hopped in the hybrid with the 1,650 pound trailer on the back. I just reset the trip, and we're going to be taking off. I am going to be putting it in tow haul mode, but it did actually have a pop-up saying trailer connected. So let's get going here. I'm looking forward to seeing how this handles accelerating here. You definitely can feel it bouncing around a little bit. Let's floor it here. It is definitely slower, but the vehicle seems to be handling it quite well. There's certainly not a lack of power unless you need crazy power for some reason, but you shouldn't. Braking seems certainly more than adequate as far as being in control. And let's just see how this does overall. I am curious to see the fuel economy with this trailer behind there. I would guess probably high 20s, but one way to find out. And again, we are in the tow haul mode, and we're in a hybrid XLT model. And this is only front wheel drive. There's no all-wheel drive available on the hybrid, and the hybrid can only do 2,000 pounds of towing. There's no 4,000 pound tow option available on the hybrid. So far, the trip computer is showing about 17.5 miles per gallon, but I also did floor it when we initially got going there. That certainly skews things. And these roads are pretty tight and winding, so you can't go too quickly. Has pretty solid regen that helps bring the trailer to a stop, but the brakes again feel pretty adequate. We're going to be jumping onto the interstate in just a moment to see how it does in that regard. So we're going to be hopping onto the interstate here, and let's see how the acceleration is as we get up to actual driving speed. I expect it to be pretty adequate. Handling seems totally fine with the trailer back there. And we're going pedal to the metal. Let's see how it does. 60 was easy. And just cruising along here, it definitely is using a little bit more power. We're hovering around 50% power on the power gauge to sustain about 65 or so. There's a slight uphill, but now we've got a slight downhill coming up as we exit again. And we'll see how it handles that, especially with the regen. Seems to be doing well. Like I noted with the mulch in the back, it does seem to increase the regen a bit with the cargo or with the towing, and uses that extra mass to help regain more energy, since it took more energy to get it up to speed anyway. Now we're going to be doing a little bit more low speed on our way back with this load. And I think this is a pretty typical use case for this vehicle, whether it's like a lawn care service or just a normal everyday person that's just hauling their lawnmower to bring it to be serviced, bring it to a friend's, whatever the case may be. So it's good to see that it's doing this job well. So far, fuel economy is 19.9 miles per gallon. And just for reference, that is actually better than the unladen EcoBoost I drove yesterday. And just driving it gingerly back, we're up to 20.5 miles per gallon over the course of about 5 miles. But I would have no qualms towing like this. Probably wouldn't want to tow across the country like this, but if you needed to, it'd probably be fine. But for the general use case of this vehicle, towing something like this around town, I think would be absolutely fine. Now let's hop into another vehicle to keep further exploring the capabilities of the Ford Maverick. And we're now going to be hopping into another Maverick Hybrid, and we're going to be maxing out the tow capabilities, towing about 2,000 pounds of jet skis. Let's see how it does now. We're going to start with resetting the trip meters here. And we're going to be doing the same loop that we just did with that lawnmower as well. And this one is a loaded Lariat hybrid. So it does have the push button start. And I'm curious to see how it does. We're going to be switching into tow haul mode again as well. You actually have some nice different animations on the Lariat with the larger instrument cluster screen versus the XLT or the XL. And let's get out onto the road and see how it does. Based on towing the lawnmower, that was about $1,650. I think it will be just fine. But 400 pounds or almost 400 pounds could make a difference. And that's what we're here to find out. Fairly busy road that we're pulling out on here in the greater Nashville area. Not going to floor it until we're actually on pavement. And it's totally fine. I'm not even having to floor it to get up to speed. I would be very confident towing like this. Braking is still adequate. I mean, you definitely have longer braking distance with 2,000 extra pounds. But if you're towing, you should be planning accordingly for that anyway. I'm a fan of how the Lariat has the larger speed digital display versus just the needle analog display. And it actually tells you how many electric miles you've driven while you're driving versus just on the shut-off screen. And like on the prior test with the lawnmower, we are going to be hopping on the interstate just to see how it does. And I'll give you guys a MPG at the end to let you know how the fuel economy was impacted. But it's nice being able to manage speed with the regen and then actually use that energy again with the hybrid versus having to use the friction brakes. So far, 21.9 miles per gallon, not bad. I would not be complaining about that. It's too bad we don't get to take the jet skis out. That would be a fun day. And we're gonna be hopping onto the interstate here. Let's see how it accelerates, how it handles, how it turns. All the relevant things when you're towing in the real world. Take it easy around this clover leaf. And then as soon as it straightens out a bit, we'll get on it and see how it gets up to speed. And I am now flooring it. Gets up to speed without really any issue. It certainly revs the engine, but that's pretty typical behavior of a CVT. You probably wouldn't want to be towing more than like 65, 70 miles an hour in this, just to not be running at a high RPM, for more so for your own comfort, so it's not too loud. But also, it's just safer to tow at lower speeds anyway. And your fuel economy will definitely be higher at lower speeds rather than at higher speeds. And we've dropped down to 17.5 miles per gallon indicated. But I would expect that to go up a decent bit on our way back with some more low-speed side road driving versus interstate. And like I mentioned with the lawnmower, regen does help you come down to a stop, which is certainly nice. You don't feel a whole lot of bouncing with the trailer either. Rear end seems pretty composed even with the added weight and with the added load. Even if you flick the steering a little bit, reacts just fine, nice and planted, no real trailer sway. And braking is no problem at all. The auto start stop in this is pretty seamless. I can barely even tell it's kicking on. I think auto start stop on hybrid actually is a lot better than just normal auto start stop, since you have that hybrid electric motor to kind of get you going as the gas motor kicks on. And no trouble getting up to speed in a normal manner whatsoever. It's not straining, it's not revving out constantly. Essentially drives like it's not even there. And just like that, we're back. We've averaged 21.8 miles per gallon. Certainly nothing to complain about. I'm pretty happy with that. And it drives great, even with 2,000 pounds being towed. You now join me in a EcoBoost all-wheel drive with the FX4 package, and we're going to be doing some mild off-roading. We're going to be switching it into mud and rut mode. So on the FX4 package, you do get some additional drive modes. You get sand and mud ruts. So we'll put it on mud ruts, and you do actually get some additional screens as well. So right now we have a tilt and yaw screen, and there's an intelligent all-wheel drive screen as well. So we'll leave it on that just to see how it does. Let's get going. We're not gonna be doing anything too crazy, but we'll see what this truck is capable of. I think the intended audience for this, it's not the rock crawling, it's more of the being able to take some less maintained roads to get to a campsite, or go on that logging road just to go explore, like go fishing, or this is not an extreme off-roader, and it's not trying to be. The FX4 package adds some additional underbody shields, also adds additional cooling capabilities, and it adds those modes. It has some Falcon Wild
corner,
Peak,
and then that
all-terrain
way,
tires,
up and then going up. Sure.
And it has a special 17-inch wheel. So we are here on a kind of rocky descent here. Feels totally composed.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more mild trail, but
pretty much just in front wheel drive. We haven't encountered anything that needs more than that. It also adds a monotube shock in the rear to help keep the rear end a little bit more planted. And the ride seems pretty good. I mean, it's a little bouncy, but nothing too crazy. And not really bouncy in a bad way like the suspension's poor, it's a rough road. Not sure if that gets conveyed on the footage here, but hopefully it does. This is certainly not smooth. And these do, of course, have independent rear suspension. Big rock there, and we're doing some pretty decent off-roading. This is more off-road than I would probably be willing to take most cars, and you can hear the underbody shields are definitely serving their purpose on these rocks, and the rear-wheel drive, or the all-wheel drive and rear power is engaged. This is a bit more off-roading than I thought they would have us do here. I'm actually pretty impressed with the capabilities here. Had a little bit of wheel spin there as it articulated a bit, but it overcame it just fine. A little bit of a tight thing here between these trees, but again, that's kind of the benefit of a vehicle of this size, is that it's a bit smaller. Overall, I'm pretty darn impressed with the capabilities of this. It's a lot more capable than I would have thought, and the tires are doing pretty well. All-wheel drive system did its job, and I wouldn't have any qualms taking this to a little bit of a remote campsite. We're here with Jay Kissler, Vehicle Engineering Specialist for the Maverick. We're going to be going through some of the different cargo options, both interior and in the bed with the flex bed system. Jay, why don't you show us through?
Sure, hi. So this first truck we're looking at comes fully equipped. So the customer's gone with Lariat trim package, as well as some of the optional content we make available. What you'll notice from a features standpoint is this truck has the spray-in bed liner, which is a built for tough durability. Then on the right-hand side of the bed, we have the bedside storage cubby. That size to hold the 2-inch drawbar you need for 4,000 pounds tow-in, as well as a bundle of jumper cables. On the left side, we have that exact same 8" by 8" module area, and this trim gets the LED light as well as the 120 volt outlet, which has a 400 watt capacity. From a tie down perspective, we knew for our bed it was really important to have tie downs low, high, front and back. So you can see we have 2 D-pillar tie downs here. In the front, we have a floor tie down like so. And then as part of our optional packages, we make available this aluminum extruded rail that gives you this adjustable up high cleat tie down. Last thing on this truck, from an accessories or freestanding options standpoint, all of our features clamp onto the reinforced bedside, just like you'd see with some larger trucks. In this particular case, we have a simple soft tonneau cover. On Ford.com, we make available soft, hard, tri-fold, as well as all the bars and racks that can reach across the truck. Those all bolt on just like you'd find on a larger truck. So the next thing we'll look at is a truck that comes less equipped from the factory, but the customer has done some projects themselves through the means we show them. In this particular case, we love the example of wanting to go biking. In this case, we offer the customer bike rack accessories that work just like this, clamping onto the forks. If you go to the Discover Your Maverick website, we will also show you how to do your own bike rack with supplies from the local hardware store. Amounts to about $40, a couple cuts, a couple screws, and you've done the DIY equivalent of the bike rack accessory. Similarly, from an electrical standpoint, all Mavericks come with what we call our eDIY circuit. So on both D-pillars, you'll find the cap that looks like so, and it's the 12 volt DC flex bed cap. Behind that, we have a dedicatedly fused 12 volt circuit, and you can use that to install your own lights, air compressors, etc. That's the new video that just went live on the site. In this particular case, we went to the local auto parts store. We quickly installed some blue LEDs for this demonstration today using that 12 volt circuit. And all the videos for how to do these projects, what materials you need, what features are available, can be found at the FlexBed QR code site here. The last thing to note on this truck is the multi-position tailgate. When you get the truck from the factory, it'll be in its flat position as you'd expect. If you have longer cargo like these bikes or 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of plywood, you can simply lift the tailgate like this, undo the cable end, and put it up on the latch striker, like so. The tailgate's now engineered and endorsed to stay open at that middle position while supporting load and while enabling longer cargo. Last truck, we have a sports practice scenario. This is showing, again, pieces of wood. So the customer has cut to length some 2x4s, creating an upper load plane here, holding the cooler. The customer has also cut a 2x6, creating a very simple bed divider. So again, this is duality with we do offer a bed divider accessory, or you can just cut the 2x6 to length, put it in the slot. This keeps this cargo within arm's reach of the 5th percentile female, and it keeps these balls, as an example, that have escaped from their bag from rolling out the back of the tailgate when opened. The last DIY element here is this bedside cargo rail. This is another DIY project that we endorse. When we looked at the high-end truck, this is where we put the aluminum extruded cleat rail, but the attachment points are standard on all trucks. So we want the customer to go to local Home Depot, local hardware store, get a steel strut, cut it to length, and bolt it up. And again, you have sort of the DIY equivalent of that high-end content we looked at on the first truck.
And now we've moved into the interior, and we're gonna be walking through some of the interior cargo spaces that you have and the flexibility that you're given with that.
That's right, yeah. So here on the interior of the Maverick, we have the back seat lifted up like so, and we have a couple of the FIT slots. FIT is Ford integrated tether system. What you'll see here is all trucks have these notches in the plastic on the back of the center console and in the underseat storage cross truck bin. What we're doing with these slots is we're gonna make available a set of accessories. So cup holder, sunglasses bin, etc. that slide in here. We're also gonna make available the CAD of that interface. So if you go to that FlexBed Discover Your Maverick page, you'll be able to download this CAD and create for 3D printing your own interior accessories. In this particular case, one of our team members designed a cord holder, has a Ford emblem on it, and again, slides into the slot like so for cord organization and use. So this synergy between offering content that goes in those slots and enabling you as the customer to customize your own and install in the vehicle. Yeah, so now we're in the front of the truck. One of the philosophies, the design philosophy of the Maverick really was around enabling a built for tough versatility and usability. So you'll find a lot of spaces where we've left a lot of openness. The door trim, as an example, we've actually split the handle, which traditionally comes across. This enables a lot of enhanced storage, large bottles from the store or metal plastic bottles can go like so and are well retained, reaching up into this handle gap. We've also left a lot of versatility and flexible space here for coffees, mugs, etc. And then similarly on the center console, we really wanted to leave this space as versatile as possible. So you'll notice a lot of open space, a lot of stowage. This area is where the inductive charging pad is as equipped, and we've also provided a phone prop here. This entire surface lifts out for easy cleaning and trash removal, and then cup holders and smaller pockets rearward as well. So the idea was really open, simple not basic, enabling the lifestyle and a built for tough versatility for the customers.
Thank you, Jay.
Sure, thank you.
Hopefully after watching this, you've realized that the Maverick is a true truck. It has some mild off-road capabilities, actually more so than I was expecting. It can tow, it can haul, and the bed has a lot of flexibility to haul whatever you need to carry, whether it's some bicycles, your sports gear, or your weekend getaway. The Maverick can do it all for you. If you have any questions, comment down below. See you guys next time.